Hey, John,
Hey, Alex.
you know what I hate?
What's that?
I hate the dirty Mangaloreans for killing the Manda Shawa. Oh, wait, no, that was that other movie.
Yeah, I don't want to
Sorry.
do that again.
Oh,
Please.
oh, you will. That's going to be the 1 year anniversary. We're just going to get to the Fifth Element again.
I'll look back.
But anyway, we watched Valerian and the City of a Thousand Worlds.
I'm the urban spaceman, baby. I've got speed. I've got everything I need. I'm the urban spaceman, baby. I can fly. I'm a supersonic guy.
So I think the best way to start this episode would be me doing, hey, this is Rutger Hauer, and I'm going to say one line of dialogue and be a giant, giant nail in your foot for no good reason.
Yeah, no, he was there. I was totally expecting more out of him.
Why?
But yeah,
Why was Rutger Hauer there?
Well, so before we get to Rutger Hauer, I liked the opening. The opening is mankind's forays into space. Then it becomes like this space station, and you see like the future of this guy. It's a guy introducing himself or like different races on Earth, meeting up in the space station, shaking hands, and then eventually becomes guy shaking hands with aliens, all these different alien races coming in, and stuff like that. And it was just like cute little story of this one guy, and then eventually like a younger guy doing it.
The opening was strong, but also, pointfully, the Manda Shawan were there. Did you notice?
Well, there were some very Monashawani looking guys.
Well, it said, because I looked it up afterwards, it says on IMDb that those were the Manda Shawan.
Sure, they're okay.
If no one knows what the fuck we're talking about, those are the round aliens from the beginning of the Fifth Element.
Yeah. So, but it's that. But then I also couldn't help but think this isn't the movie's fault. I kept waiting for it to be an ad for a phone. Like I'd see that being like a 30-second ad that ends with like communication's important.
You're
Verizon,
very correct. Yes.
Which I think is more just a problem of everything being terrible. But I actually did like that little opening. And then, so basically they've built this space station and it gets too huge. And Rutger Hauer, who's the president of the world or something, cuts to him.
Tiny Zeus Lister has stepped down.
Yes, after his failed presidency. Rutger Hauer, who's got a cute little diamond earring.
It was adorbs.
Yeah, he's like, well, no, this thing's getting too heavy. It's going to fall to Earth. So we're going to launch it into orbit or into deep space. And then the movie starts.
Yeah. Which, strong beginning, because that's a lot of information to dump. And they did that really effectively.
This movie does a lot of world building, a lot of information dumping. And I think overall it does a good job of it, with the exception, and you're going to hear this phrase a lot, with the exception of the lead characters.
Yeah. You know, before we even move on from that opening, this is the first movie I think I don't know your opinion of before we start recording. Let's say from a scale of a movie you like on the top, and then the Fifth Element at the bottom, where it's not like you have a seething cauldron of hate for it.
Yeah.
No, let's not even say that. Is this movie better than the Fifth Element?
100% better than the Fifth Element.
That was my thing.
100%.
As I was watching it,
I don't love this movie, but it's better than the Fifth Element.
At no point was I concerned that you were going to love it. But as I was watching this, I kept thinking, I wonder if John is like just a seething cauldron of hate at this moment, because it's very Fifth Element-y, which I know you're annoyed
Parts
by.
of it were.
I would like to just kind of overall, boy, I have rarely liked a movie this much with wooden puppets instead of actors, because that lead guy fucking blows.
He's abysmal. Dane, what's his name? He's got a lot of A's.
He's got
frankly too many.
Dane DeHaan.
Dane DeHaan, yeah.
He's like a charisma vortex where people around him stop being charismatic because of his presence. Because I thought she sucked too, until she finally got some scenes by herself, and I went, oh no, she's good at this.
Yeah.
She was just standing next to the worst actor, not even worst actor, just the least charismatic person in history. Which is fucked up, because he's handsome, and it's not like he was doing a bad job acting, it's just...
No, he was.
I guess...
He's his whole thing, and I don't know how much this is his fault, how much this is Luc Besson, but his whole thing is, well, I'm a tough space hero, so I gotta sound like this. And he sounds like he's doing a mean impression of Keanu Reeves. Like try to do, like you at home, try to do a Keanu Reeves impression right now. That's what this guy sounds like.
Whoa.
What, you mean?
No, I was doing from
Kung Fu.
Bill and Ted.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about real Keanu Reeves.
Not from like My Own Private
shit.
Idaho. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Yeah. When he's trapped in Idaho.
Yeah.
With River Phoenix offers him 2 pills.
And then he fights his way out with a potato.
Right.
Dane DeHaan is, I can't stress enough, how much he ruined this movie.
He's very bad.
And I feel like it wasn't his fault. I think he was just the wrong casting and not a very good role in the first place.
Well, his foil, Clara Delevingne, I think is how you say it.
Cara,
Sorry.
I'm not going to go for her last name.
Yeah, it's something actually like surprisingly similar. It's like Delevingne, something
Yeah.
like that. I heard her an interview with her. She's British. I had no idea, but she wasn't great. She was better than Suicide Squad. My main problem is, so this is supposed to be, these two are supposed to be these like federal agents, basically these space feds, and they're supposed to have this moonlighting kind of flirty, but we don't like each other relationship.
Wait, do they though?
Well, they're supposed to. The movie wants you to think that, but he's, like we said, he's just charmless. He's nothing.
That's what I couldn't figure out.
And her exasperation at his quote unquote antics is way more huffy than it is that kind of like, oh, you know what I mean? It's more just like, ugh.
Because she seemed to be, rightfully so, didn't like him.
Yeah.
Not like I'm trying to hide my feelings in a Sam Diane kind of way, or moonlighting, but I forgot their names, so I went with Sam and Diane.
We're introduced, but there's plot that happens we can talk about, but they're introduced and like on a beach, on like this beach simulation. And the first thing you see him do is forcibly restrain her. Oh,
Yeah.
what a charming hero because she goes to like, he's laying down, she walks into frame to hand him a drink or something, does some sort of karate thing to like pin her down.
Yeah.
Oh, how playful and fun.
Yeah, and
Because she does not enjoy it.
And I see where he was going with this scene, and this is one of the many, many times that a charismatic actor would have pulled this off. The fact that he's not spilling the drink during all of this is supposed to show just how fucking good this guy is. And if their banter had come across as, oh, this is highly flirtatious, they're both aware of their attraction for each other, that scene would have been really effective and not super rapey, which is what it comes across.
Yeah.
Maybe not super rapey, but like definitely like sex offendery. His lack of charisma ruins it. So it's like, oh great, this movie's starting off with like, oh cool, you have a like a date rapey hero.
Yeah.
And this lady that's supposed to be his equal. Well, I mean, I guess he's a major and she's a whatever, but like fight wise, I guess they're supposed to be as good as one another. But we're establishing that no, he's the big powerful man, even though he's a tiny impish. I just didn't like him.
Yeah, well, it also that and I guess maybe this is my age speaking. They're children. They are children. Like he's supposed to be this grizzled. He's been through some stuff, and he's the ace pilot. He's 12. He looks like he's 12, and that's the character design, like because they gave him the kind of tously hair. You know, if he had a buzz cut or something, maybe.
No,
they. But he also is just he's a baby faced guy.
Too young and too small of people.
Yeah,
like they don't read as adults.
Well, yeah. Later when they're on the mission and they're with all these like muscular army guys and they're all like looking down at them to talk.
Yeah,
it's just like wait, these are tiny teenagers.
Yeah, that was one of the first notes I made. Was my notes in order are oh shit, the Montechuan. Rutger Hauer is very miscast, and then these actors have zero chemistry and they're too young.
Yeah.
But before that, did you notice the first aliens that we go to, that we later turn out are the Pearls? Their planet, very Zoidberg planet-esque from Futurama.
Yeah, so the after we get the introduction of them, of the space station and getting launched into space, we get the title sequence, and then it just opens up on this planet where a very Avatar-looking kind of thing, more fishy, I guess, but this tall, live, super skinny alien wakes up, frolics around their world, which is just this lovely beach.
Yeah. She's yawning a lot.
Yeah.
She's teasing, showing her breast, which is confusing from an aquatic animal.
Yeah, well, it was the sort of thing where it's just like Luc Besson, in my view of many ways, like, oh, I was tired of The Fifth Element being full of such fat models. And wouldn't it be nice if we just had this super skinny thing? Like, finally, that's beauty. Because it was very, like, anorexic. Everyone on that was very tall and thin. And then they're just a primitive, happy race, fishing, collecting pearls, feeding pearls to a small thing.
And then having that small thing shit on their hand into the tide pool.
Tons and tons of other pools. And you see this little thing. And then, and this is gorgeous, by the way. Like, the effects in this movie, the CG stuff is very pretty. And I don't know if that's just me coming out of seeing Bright and Batman, kind of like with Speed Racer, how we were all, oh, it's colorful, so that's nice.
Yeah.
But I thought this was very sort of pretty looking.
No, I thought this looked nice. Yeah, there's very few spots where I was annoyed by the CG.
Yeah, and so their daily life is interrupted by things falling from the sky. It looks like a meteor attack or something like that. But things, and then like it's a ship that is crashes, and then this giant ship is crashing, and so the alien race gets on this other ship to protect themselves. They see this big hulking metal thing, and they climb in, and one of them is left outside. Big ship hits the ground, blows everything up, and right before the live alien, she outstretches her arm, blows out a thing of energy, and then dies. And that's when the energy hits Valerian on the date rapey beach.
Why is this movie called Valerian in the City of the blah, blah, blah?
Well, because that's his name. It sounds more like a title, like a position someone would hold.
But beyond that, why is it named after him? I mean, I think I'm just going back to the lack of the him having no charisma thing, where it's like, this should just be called the City of a Thousand Worlds, or, you know, Team whatever. But like, it's a two-hander. It's him and Kara, whatever her name is.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't seem like it's his story and then everything else.
Well,
it's the two of their stories. So it's just a weird.
Right. Well, I think it's based off of a French comic book, I think. Yeah, this guy has a history, apparently. Maybe he has other adventures. And if it was in France and people are like, oh, yes, we are familiar with Valerian, let's call it. But it doesn't. I mean, it sounds sci-fi-y, you know. And it's an easier one-word title than like City of a Thousand Planets.
Okay, so wait, they're on the planet. He has just been woken up by this.
Well, they're not on a planet. They're in a simulation on the ship.
And then I make the note: this guy begging for sex is not a great way to introduce our hero. And he doesn't really move up from there.
No, because she rebuffs him, and then he's like, "Oh no, come on, baby," and she's like, "Oh, Alexx, which is the name of their computer.
Yeah,
bring up the playlist." And he just has a document, and all these like photos come up of all these different people he's banged.
Yeah, that was weird.
And that's supposed to be endearing.
Yeah, and also,
I guess,
why is he begging to marry her instead of?
Well, that comes up later because.
Or well, let's do. Yeah, we'll spin back around, but let's just deal with this now.
Yeah.
Why marry instead of because. At no point did you go, oh, I want to go on a date with you or something. He's jumping straight to marriage.
Yeah, because that's character growth, I guess.
No, I don't think so, because it happens pretty early.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it wasn't, like, nothing's happened. Like, they didn't grow as people yet.
No, but it establishes that he loves her. And, yeah, it's dumb.
Yeah, I was trying to find, like, something I liked about it, and then I'm like, no, that's really dumb, too. Yeah, it was just I hated everything about this man. Not hated.
Yeah, but he's he's kind of unpleasant, and not in a... He's meant to be unpleasant. You know, not like it's like Ash from Army of Darkness or something like that, where it's like, oh, look at this lunkhead. It's like, no, it's not.
And not to be like a superficial or whatever, but this works in the film. He's not attractive enough to be that arrogant. Like, he's a perfectly attractive young man, but he's not, you know, leading man, you know, jaw McStrong arms.
Well, he also doesn't look like that tough to back.
Yeah,
that
like
up.
He doesn't have that that
chutzpah.
Yeah, he doesn't have the chutzpah. That's a good point. So moving on to the first kind of set piece where they're going into the big market to get back a stolen item, which we later learn to be what's the name of the creature? A mole something?
They call it the converter.
Yeah, a mole converter. Yeah. I love the idea of the big market where it's in another dimension.
Yeah, so basically we get introduced to the big market they're called by their boss, who I think is played by Herbie Hancock, who I can't figure out why he's in this movie because he's not an actor, and that shows in every scene that he's in.
That is Herbie Hancock. Yeah, wow.
Because I saw him in the credits and I was like, Herbie Hancock? And it got me just thinking, every time he was on screen, I'm like, why are you in this? What is this? Is this like a nod to something? Was he just a fan of your music? So please just read lines off a teleprompter because that's obviously what you're doing.
Yeah, that was weird. You know, that guy struck me as so alien and odd. It didn't occur to me that I should really think more than that because it is a movie with alien oddness.
That's true.
Like, oh, that's what it is. He's just not very good at acting. Oh, yeah.
But so the Valerian, and I do not know that character's name.
Laureline.
That's it.
Now, I didn't either. I've had to look it up 6 times because it slips through me like grains of fucking sand. It is, because grains of sand slip through you.
Yeah,
that's the
you
way
eat a lot of sand.
That's the way that language works.
Yep,
I'm good at using it in a row.
So they're on this mission, this undercover mission to retrieve an item. That's all you know is the viewer, and they're sent to the big market, which you, as a viewer, are introduced to through a character that I was so worried was basically going to be Ruby Rod, the tour guide, who is wearing, because there's just like a group of tourists coming in, this huge tourist attraction. And the idea is this giant market where you have to it's in another dimension and you need special gloves to pick things up and special glasses to even see it. And the idea is you can buy stuff there and there's a way to transfer it so you can get it out. But I liked it as a concept. It wasn't a thing where I was like, well, why?
See, I thought the why part, because it's on a desert planet,
Yeah.
right? There's plenty of room.
Yeah.
Why go through all the extra stuff?
Yeah, I don't know if it's like it's a security thing or just like it's so crowded that it's easier to just have people there virtually, because there were some people that were actually there. You know what I mean? Because there's people in another dimension at the time. They're not all just holograms
Yeah,
there.
I guess.
So, but it was just it was
cool
like
concept,
it was
yeah.
just like, hey, here's a crazy sci-fi thing, and I've kind of lately been in much more of a sci-fi mode. Like I'm just watching a whole bunch of like crazy crap. So this is perfect. So it really scratched that itch. So I was just on board with it. But yeah, the guy presenting it and describing it to everyone is one of the most annoying human beings alive, and he's supposed to be. Like it's played out like that. But correctly, this movie goes, hey, here's like, this guy's kind of annoying and it's sort of fun, but really grating. And then guess what? You're never going to see him again. We're not going to make him a good section of the movie for some reason.
Yeah.
So so I thought, good for you. You've grown as a filmmaker, Luc Besson.
Nah, I missed him. I wanted that guy to hang out and tell him, yeah, everything was crystal
Yeah.
and green. They also had a nice sequence where I liked where she shoots the dart in the watchtower guy's neck,
Yes.
which lets that other dude take that guy over and see through his eyes, and
Yeah, it gives it sort of a mind control thing.
yeah, I like that very much. Though that guy that was doing the mind control looked so much like the guy that danced with the dumb hat on in The Fifth Element. He had that same, remember that?
Oh, yeah.
He had
The
that
guy
same
I
kind of
hate and you like,
tweaker
yes.
vibe, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, I hope that's him. And I haven't looked it up, and I'm sure it isn't, but I was like, oh, I hope that's hallway guy. Also, did you notice there was a callback to that scene?
Mm.
When they've got the one of the troopers have like a really dumb hat, and they go, "Hey, nice hat," which is the same thing that happened with that guy with his dumb hat in the hallway.
So two people wearing nice hats.
Yeah, this is how pathetic this was for me.
You're
I
just
went
so
through
excited.
and read all the like trivia about this, and on IMDb, all of the Fifth Element references that they use as trivia, I picked up on while watching the movie. That's so
cool.
sad.
No,
I
that's great.
Yeah.
I'm proud of you, buddy.
my life is really empty and alone, and this is like all I have.
That's what liking The Fifth Element does to you.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying I don't deserve it, but I mean, I'm saying that I don't deserve
Yeah.
this. I don't deserve to have that amount of Fifth Element knowledge in my head.
No, I'd argue that you do.
So they go into this whole sequence where they go into the big market, and Valerian is got a gateway thing on his arm, which allows him to kind of pull a gun out.
Yeah, if you
And-
want to take anything with you into this dimension, you have to put it in this. I forget. I don't even remember what they call it, but it's like a transmogrifier, basically.
Exactly.
You can carry the gun in, and it will sort of be hidden, but then he can actually unveil it at a certain point and use it in this sort of virtual world.
So he does that. There's like fun chase thing, but anyway, we get to John Goodman. Is that
I believe that's John Goodman.
Yeah, this kind of Jabba the Hutt-esque character, which I thought looked like shit. I thought that looked like, remember Dexter Jetster from the Star Wars prequels? No, but I'll tell you who that is.
Oh, the guy is that the guy that worked at the
diner, the space diner.
Yeah.
He
No,
looked-
I did have that vibe.
He looked, yeah, and it's like, this is reminding me of the prequels. One makes me sad too. Like that's the one part where the CG, or maybe that wasn't a puppet. That was
No,
CG,
it was all
because there was a
CG, yeah.
couple puppets in it as well.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's like but
Which I just going back to, speaking of that and like all the aliens at the beginning, I like a lot of the alien designs in this. I think they're really cool.
oh yeah,
There are some really
like the
really
Mondoshawan. Yeah.
there were some other than that, there was some really inventive stuff that was neat to see, particularly with all the handshaking and stuff like that. The way the different races would do that.
Yeah.
But that being said, yes, this one was a little bit, I don't know. It wasn't that exciting to
Yeah,
to look
I also
at.
liked. I mean, we'll get to it in a second. But during this, when they're running away, they ran by a bar called Corbin's, which is named for Corbin and Dallas.
Sure it is.
Yeah, from the Fifth Element.
Yep.
Do you get what I'm gonna do for this entire episode?
Yeah, no,
You
I
pick
get
it
it's
up on it?
fine.
Good.
I'm just gonna have this reaction because it's like that's nice,
Hooray.
honey, and I'll tousle your hair.
I just remind me of that good movie. We meet this Jabba the Hutt character, which I don't know his name, nor do I care, nor
Yeah,
am I
it
gonna
doesn't-
look it up.
Yeah.
And we learn that he's dealing with the pearl creatures we saw in the beginning, the humanoids that from the exploded planet, and they're trading for one of the little lizard things that shit out the pearls in the opening sequence, or one of the opening sequences, one of the many montages that opened up.
Yeah, there's a lot of like I said, there's a lot of information dumping that this
Yeah.
movie does. Like I think it was a good 12 minutes in before we even saw our main character.
Which is why I think I really liked that beginning, because it was a long time before I had to look at Valerian.
guy, yeah.
So it worked out well. So during the exchange, Valerian shows up and holds a gun to Jabba's neck, and he's like, "Hey, I'm gonna steal that pearl and the little lizard thing." And
Now, so and it being in another dimension, the whole time Loreline is like in just on because they're just on this big desert where this is happening, and all the people that are interacting with the market are just wearing these like virtual reality glasses. So Loreline's just like walking up behind him, and he's like got a gun pointing at something. You know what I mean? Like it's this weird like double layer of reality
Yeah.
that I liked, and I liked how they did that because she's like, I'm coming up, and she brings up this big box thing, and so that manages to slip through the dimensions through this other thing, and they shove the thing in there. I just like that. It felt like a cool little heist thing.
oh no, totally. That was-
Almost like Inception, but fun.
Yeah. This was I think one of the more effective sequences in the film.
Yeah.
I thought it was really inventive and fun. But then they have a whole chase sequence because he gets caught stealing the lizard back. And here's one of the many things that get dropped in this film. John Goodman, Jabba the Hutt, goes, "I'm gonna get you." Like he promises revenge. And never shows back up.
And nothing ever happens.
Which was
yeah.
weird because they left you put a pin right there that this guy was going to show back up and just
And it's also the fact that it's John Goodman. You're like, well, yeah, it's John Goodman. I'll see him again.
yeah. I mean, I guess we should have known because Rutger Hauer had
Well, I
a
was
line
expecting
and a
him to
half,
show
yeah.
back up.
Yeah, but apparently he's been dead for 400 years at the start of this movie.
I suppose that's true. Yeah. So what happens is that the gun thing that can traverse dimensions or whatever, it gets broken. So all you see in the big market dimension is just this box with a hand and a gun coming out of it, like floating in
Yeah.
air. And something's happened where it's broken. So there's this chase sequence of people chasing this box with a gun out of it, and the security. This is the first example of weapons being really cool in this movie. I liked all the weapons. So it's shooting all these like little magnetic ball bearings at him. That all just like
I
stick
did
around the
love that.
box and
Yeah.
just become super heavy. So it's difficult for him to move. And I just thought that was a really neat, inventive idea. And kind of how he gets around it was kind of cool. But it was just, yeah, I like then later when the other aliens show up with the kind of the sticky guns that we'll talk about when they show up, I just thought there was some very inventive stuff here.
Yeah, but here's the first. I thought you were going to mention this. I was letting you run there to see if we ran to the same conclusion. Boy, did he get a shitload of people killed and is cavalier as fuck about it.
Oh, yeah.
At that end of the chase sequence. That entire school bus full of people, which by the way, I did love that the inside of that bus thing they were driving in was 100% just a school bus. They had the
Yeah.
same riveting and stuff. I
Yeah.
really love the future. I don't know. I kind of like that stuff about like in the future, they're still like,
Yeah, there
they
was some
just got
fun
an
like
old-ass school-
throwbacks.
Yeah. But yeah, they got all of those people killed because the guard dog from the Jabba the Hutt character chases them down. And yeah, just cavalier and laughing about it. They get back to the ship like, hey, what a good time. You
Yeah.
want to fuck me now? And she's like, no, I don't want to fuck you. And yeah,
Still, you're a creep. That has not changed.
Yeah, but like you just got like a bunch of people murdered. Like
Yeah.
again, you've introduced these characters. So far you found out that he's kind of rapey, and he doesn't care about who he gets killed. And yeah, he has like no moral compass. Like these are the people I want to root for the next
Yeah.
3 hours.
And it's
or
not
however
and it's
long
not
it
even
was.
just that he's like, well, he's great at his job. Yeah, he did what he was supposed to do and then he fucked it up. And then
Yeah.
it's not one of those where like, well, but he's the best. Is he? I don't know. It certainly didn't seem like that. It was a interesting chase scene. He did some inventive stuff, but he's the one that kind of caused the problems in the first place.
Yeah, I think if they had done going slightly out of order, but he did that chase scene later in the film where he's running and shooting platforms and jumping on
Yeah.
it, and he looks like, wow, this dude's fucking great at
Yeah.
what he does. If they had somehow managed not that chasing, but done a chase scene of that level at this part of the movie and established him as like, oh wow, no, this man is actually really remarkable at this.
Right. Yeah.
I'm not saying it would have won me over for him, but I would have had much warmer feelings about the character because at least it's like, oh, you do have a little bit of backup for your,
For your swagger. Yeah.
yeah. Like you've got a reason for this.
Yeah.
But in this one, it's like, oh, you just ran around and got a bunch of people murdered.
Yeah. So they escape with the whatever you call it, the converter.
Mole converter.
Yeah, and one of the pearls that the aliens were trying to buy the converter with, which is what it actually.
Steven.
I don't understand the reference.
People at home do.
All right.
That is a reference to Steven Universe.
I wondered if that was the case.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm 37. Someone killed me.
But they look at the pearl and it turns out to be extremely powerful. Powerful than even the ship that they're on.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Because it produces a lot of energy.
I think at some point he asks his ship, Alexx, about the dream that he had. Is that when we find out that like we don't know anything about these aliens or something like that?
That's like on the way down. Yeah, they're because he has the dream. He asked about the dream on the way down to do this mission.
Yeah.
Your brain waves are a little bit more than normal, and it seems like you've had some sort of external thing happen, but don't worry about it. Then after they look at the pearl, like, what's this about? I'm like, well, it's from this planet that doesn't exist anymore. Well, that seems curious. We'll have to ask someone about that.
Oh, that's right. No, because isn't this where they first find out that it's classified?
I think so, yeah. That it's like you need 5-star general.
Which one of the things I really effective about this film is building up the story that happened before we caught up with it about like what happened with that planet being destroyed and stuff. Like they actually did a really good job pacing that out. That it wasn't just like we knew exactly what happened from Jump Street and then we're following it. You know, it was,
Right? Yeah.
There was a lot of
grant it
effective
that.
filmmaking in this, which is odd because there's a lot of really dumb shit too. So
Yeah.
it's weird where it's. And as much as I want to do the Fifth Element thing where I just defend everything about the movie, there's a lot of really just dumb things and some pretty horrific editing.
There's a lot of video game plotting. There's a lot of like side missions where it's like, oh, and then we got to do this, and then we got to do this. That doesn't serve the main plot at all. It's just one or the other of them gets entangled in something, and they got to go have this little mini adventure, and then get back to the main story. Like, if you just followed that through plot, it would probably been a 90-minute movie. But yeah, there's just so much like little aside stuff, like her thing when she gets kidnapped later, and the whole thing with Rihanna. None of that was necessary. You could have lost that.
And that wasn't video game logic
bit.
at all. It's not like you had to rescue the missing party member and then you had to power up by finding a way to disguise yourself.
Yeah.
No, that's not. That's a video game.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's yeah. And so then I believe this is when they go to the city of 1,000 suns or the 1,000 planets.
Yeah, because the second part of their mission after getting the lizard and the pearl is the top secret part of the mission. They were stealing back that animal.
Yes.
Because it's worth a shitload of money. They could bribe the people in the interior of the station if they need to with the animal because they had to investigate the, in quotes, radiation zone.
Right.
Which doesn't make sense in context of the actual film. Because we later find out there is no radiation zone. It is the Pearl people building a spaceship in the interior of the thing.
In this, yeah.
However, how did they have projections of the growth of the radiation zone? Because if they just not called any attention to it, nothing would have happened. Like, why would they invent, oh, the radiation zone is growing, so we have to go down there and stop it?
I have no idea. And I did not even remember that happened.
Oh, yeah.
I just kind of took it, okay, here's what we need to do.
Yeah.
And,
See, it's fine because the movie moves around breezily and it's totally enjoyable. But there is a fundamental problem with the plot that it's, the whole reason for going down there, not the plot of the movie, but the villain's plot to try to hide what's going on is unnecessarily complicated.
Yeah.
And that's probably the first time that's happened to a villain in a movie.
Probably. And also, like, villain, well, we can talk about their villainousness later, but the station itself, the city of 1,000 planets or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm almost sad that this movie didn't do better simply because I would love to see tons of other stories take place in this world because they set up such an amazing place. There's so much going on here.
Yeah.
Like they're talking about the different rate because they're just doing this information dump as they're flying in there where it's like, hey, computer, tell me everything about this.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Like, the population is that, because you do when you drive into any town. But like there was all this stuff where like, oh, well, here's this alien race that's super sensitive and like can touch molecules.
Yeah.
Here's one's. And this I found this fascinating. Wanted to know more about it. They're these weird robots. They're like, well, they control information technology, banking, and finance. And over here is where all the humans are, and the economy's terrible. Moving on, I'm like, wait a minute, why is the human economy terrible?
Yeah.
And so, like, what's going on there? That
And
sounds
also,
fascinating.
Just how many liquids do they live in?
Yeah, so there's a part, and this I had to
That made me
stop.
laugh so bad.
I had to stop this movie, and because it really tickled me. There's a part where they're saying they go, and now we're going to the sort of the underwater section of it. I forget what they gave it a different name, but and down here there's over 800 species that live in all kinds of liquids, and I think it's just because everything before was so technical.
Exactly.
But it was just like, and we got 800 species that live in all kind of liquid down here. It's crazy. Look at them fishes. And then back to being like all Siri sounding.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think an accent was necessary, but
That's what I heard. I heard Cajun man accent.
well, I guarantee I did not.
All kind of liquid. They living in Dr. Pepper. They living in Jambalaya, the brothy part.
Oh, hey, no, it's with my daughter.
You name a liquid, they living in it.
So we get on to the city of 1,000 yada things and whatnot, and he talks to the uppity up boss, who I don't know the name of anybody, and we're just gonna have to live with that unless you do.
Mm-hmm. Well, did Clive Owen?
Yes.
I know the actor. I don't know his.
Yeah, we'll
his-
call him Clive Owen. That's
Yeah.
perfect. Because one,
That's
I
good.
also
That's his
realized
name.
I don't know who Clive Owen is. I know that name.
Oh, yeah.
And then I saw Clive Owen play that, and I looked at the guy and went, I don't think I've ever seen a movie with Clive Owen in it.
I know he's in Croupier, which was very good.
You didn't see it?
And then he's in Children of Men.
I've seen Children of Men.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess I have seen a Clive Owen movie. Was he the main guy?
He was not the child of man. He was the dude. Oh, the main character. Yes, he was
Yeah.
the main character. He wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. He
Why
wasn't
would-
the titular.
I didn't say the titular. I said the main guy.
Well, I'm sorry. I took it as titular.
You always take everything as titular.
That's true.
Behind the president, Clive Owen, are the coolest looking death cyborgs I've ever seen in a movie.
Yeah. That when they show up, I'm going, well, those aren't good guys.
Yeah.
Those aren't good guy
Oh, no.
looking cyborgs.
At no point did I think, oh yeah, these are going to be working for the forces of good. But
Yeah.
boy, I love that
No, they're
design.
cool looking. They're
Yeah.
super cool looking. If they made me think of, this is going to be meaningless to you, but they made me think of the Geth in Mass Effect, which is a race of evil robots. It's a video game.
Yeah.
But it made
I
me
mean, I
think
know
of
they
that.
did the theme to House.
That's Massive Attack.
Yeah, I know. But well done. That was really good of you. I'm shocked you knew
Oh,
that.
I see. Okay, I'm getting the okay.
Yeah, Mass
No,
Effect. But yeah, sorry. I'm just,
No, I get it.
I'm not sorry, actually. Just
Yeah.
fucking sit in it. Languish in that, because that's
Yeah.
what the word means. I love the evil robot design. It looks like, you know that robot dog that DARPA made? The one that they always have videos of a dude
Yeah.
kicking it, and you're like, oh, that's just going to be the start of the reel of finding out how humans died, is these assholes kicking. But it's got that kind of design where it's like, oh, this actually looks like this could naturally come from our society.
Yeah.
Like, this is like an actual, not some futuristic bullshit. I mean, it's futuristic bullshit, but it looks...
It's not like the iRobot robots. Anyway, so they're basically other troops have been sent to the radiation area.
Oh, right,
to go
and
check
none
it
of them
out,
returned.
and then none of them
Yeah,
returned.
Yeah.
But then Lorelai and Valerian, they're assigned. The commander is having this interstation summit. So all these different aliens, some of whom that we've seen.
Oh, that's totally right. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
because
like a
his
UN
outfit,
kind of
because
thing.
he's basically dressed like M. Bison from Street Fighter, which is great. And he had this weird big chest
No,
plate.
he's dressed like that Nazi clock thing from Hellboy.
Oh no, because that thing had less of a face. This thing.
Oh, I know. I just meant the weird clockwork.
Oh, yeah,
It
it was a
like, it looked like he was
combo
going to get stabbed and
yeah.
have sand come out later.
Oh, I hate that thing.
Yeah, I hate sand. So coarse and rough.
So running through you.
Like
But
the old
yes,
saying goes.
So they're supposed to, and I kind of like this, and this doesn't matter, but it was just a thing that I noticed that much like in a lot of sci-fi stuff and in video games like that. So they're both wearing to protect the commander during this thing. Valerian and Lorelai are both wearing like this power armor sort of thing. And
Oh, yeah.
hers has gigantic boobs,
Yes.
and his is just power armor. And
Yeah.
it was like, okay, all right, Luc Besson.
Well, here's my thing about that. Now, I'm not a lady, though I do have quite an ample bosom. But I also have an ample, gut to make up for it. But I was just thinking, if you're wearing a hard armor thing, I'm not saying sculpted, like obviously this is a sexual thing, but I've thought about this a lot with
Yeah.
would it make sense on a comfort level to give a bit of bosom room when you have a hard plastic
Well, I wouldn't doubt
outfit?
it, but this is.
Oh no, obviously
yeah.
no. It's just one of those dumb things I've never brought up on the show, and it's.
Because it comes up a lot.
Well, I mean, I guess we haven't watched. I mean, I get we're probably close to, or eventually we'll watch one of the Batman movie with
Well, I
that
think
woman where they've
It's more than when you. It's
titty
more than when you
mold.
brought up during Close Encounters of the Third Kind. That was a little. I ended up cutting that part out, but.
Oh yeah, with that oh, I'm not even
You-
gonna say what
you-
it's just no, because you would have had to edit out what I was about to say. But let's just say it would have been on a list for that.
Yeah, you bring up boob armor every episode, and I bring up Sonic getting pregnant every episode, and I have to
It's
cut
true.
them from every episode.
Yeah, they're doing the UN summit, and he's dressed like the Nazi clock Sandman.
Yeah, because he's got this weird chest plate thing that has all these like gears on it for some reason.
So weird.
And yeah, his hat has like the circuitry on it, like not functioning circuitry, but
Yeah.
like the design of circuitry, because it's the future. And they go to have the summit, and that's when she's outside. He goes in with the Valerian goes inside. Lorelai is left outside.
Yeah, he goes, I'll go inside because I'm a man and have to do manly things. You sit out there like the,
just in case you didn't like me
he's
at the least
so
possible amount.
fucking hateable. Like,
And it's not even fun. I mean, we've talked about it. It's not even fun. It's not
Yeah.
even like there's no charm to it at all.
no, it's literally, he goes, I'm a misogynist. Ladies, like,
Yeah.
ugh. And you know me, like, I love misogyny.
Yeah, no, I know.
I'm such a fan, but
Yeah.
like, he's just doing it all bad. I mean,
Yeah.
he's making us look bad.
Right.
Make America great again.
Uh,
Oh, so also here's the small thing I liked. Again, world building. They did a really great job of this. So fucking refreshing that every alien doesn't speak English.
Yeah, yeah. I've always loved, and that's something that I always liked in the earlier Star Wars movies. You know, Jabba being like Jabba Booba Solo,
Yeah.
and we're like, yeah, no, that sounds great.
Yeah, ye wanawanga, ye jabba no bada.
Exactly. And I like that so much more than the sort of the Star Trekian, everyone speaks basic or what, I don't know what they
Yeah.
call it, but yeah, I thought that was kind of refreshing.
Yeah, it was just
as well.
yeah, it's a bit small aside. It's just when
Well,
they're at the
I
UN
think it,
conference.
yeah, I think it kind of helps build the world, like you said.
Yeah. So when she's waiting outside, then comes the greatest character in the history of film, the three witches, Bubble Bubble, Toil and Trouble, the three doggy aliens, and they're just great. So
Yeah.
they're a hive mind species that can only exist in threes.
Mhm.
And their memory is shared between them. Great.
Mhm.
So great.
Yeah, I thought that was fun. I mean, there are a lot of little things in this movie that like it's and I suppose it's part of the whole world building thing where they're just sort of like, and it's this, and it's just fun. Don't worry about it. Don't look too much into it. You don't need to, because it doesn't make you feel like you need to. It doesn't give any sort of like big weight to anything. It's all pretty light and breezy, but it's interesting enough that you kind of want to know more. And then like you said, yeah. So this alien race, they can only exist in threes, and they're like information dealers, but they're also really annoying to the characters. I thought they were fine but when they show up, she's like, oh god, these things, because they want to hassle her. They're like, we know some stuff, give us money.
Yeah, which was weird because they were far more pleasant than her partner.
Oh yeah, no, yeah.
They were just like, hey, yeah, we want some money. We'll trade info for it. Like, they were totally reasonable, well, not humans, but reasonable creatures.
We are making yet another Star Wars reference or comparison to this movie, as I'm sure we're going to repeatedly. There was a joke, I guess, in the behind the scenes of the first one that basically George Lucas, all he said was faster or more intense. And I feel like Luc Besson's direction to Laureline was just roll your eyes more, because that was her reaction to everything.
Yeah.
Was just, everything.
But this was one of the first scenes that she's not near Valerian. I went, oh, I kind of like her. And I went, oh, that's why, because he's not there. Like, this is when the first time the fucking awful vortex of terrible is not there. Yeah, so that's when the walls get shot in, and
yeah, because they're basically saying like, hey, we know that you have the three doggy aliens, as you call them. They're like, we know you have something that's valuable. There are people after it. So he's like, what? And right as she figures that out, the attack happens.
yeah.
And you see the aliens break in, and it's the aliens from the beginning, the Avatar looking guys.
Yeah, I think they call them pearls.
Oh, are they? Okay. And they have super cool guns.
Oh, yeah, this is very true, yeah.
And they shoot goo at everybody. It just shoots goo in this little pew pew pew.
Yeah.
And it just you're unclear of what's happening to how the goo is affecting them, but it's neutralizing everybody. They come in and they goop up everyone, and then what do they get? Because
They steal the president guy.
oh yeah, they take the
whatever-
commander. They
whatever
take
he is,
Clive
the
Owen,
commander, yeah.
because Laureline has for security purposes, Laureline has the converter on her.
Yeah, and but they think that he has it, or at least, or they're just stealing it for leverage. Again, not clear. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah. So they take him. They just something needs to happen for the plot to get going. And before Valerian gets shot with the goop gun, he puts something in his mouth that I'm like, oh, it's like a rebreather or something that he's gonna because this is gonna suffocate you and kill you. No, it's a robot that comes out of it and cuts him out of the thing. Which what a very specific tool that is.
Well, so I had that thought as well. But here's what I'm thinking. Maybe those are common guns.
Could be.
Like you wouldn't go, oh, bulletproof vest. Yeah, wow. You just happen to have bits of Kevlar that would stop projectiles made of lead. Like, since we're so used to the guns, that makes sense. Well, maybe that's like a super common gun. Like, oh, they're just, they shot him with this
is
cum
also
cannon.
a race that we find out later has become a little bit more technologically advanced, but still not that concerned about wearing pants. Maybe it's not special to them. Maybe they just found these guns and they're common guns, that they're not that actually technologically advanced.
Yeah.
Because they didn't seem warlike on their own world. So, but it was sort of felt that the guns fitting to their character design felt very organic. And
yeah, now I'm thinking about their genitals though.
Mm-hmm. I just took that as a given.
Well, I wasn't thinking about it when the movie. Do they have genitals?
They got boobs. And they're wearing loincloths.
Oh, they are wearing loincloths. Because you said they weren't wearing pants. I was like, wait a second. I
Yeah.
don't remember seeing any like.
Yeah, but they don't like
any
they're
swinging alien meat.
30 years on and like technological advances on. They're still dressing exactly the same.
Yeah,
It doesn't matter, but it's just something that I just thought about.
Look, I know you're all about cultural appropriation and just whitewashing history, but let them keep their culture, John.
So yeah, so he's got this little spider alien comes out and cuts him out of the thing, and that also was one of the most Fifth Element-y moments of this. Not the most. The most comes later, but where as soon as the spider thing starts coming out of the little capsule he's got in his mouth, goofy ass cartoon music starts playing. Whoop-a-doop-a-doo, as the thing like skitters along and cuts him out. Yeah, and I'm like, oh, okay, this is the Luc Besson I know and don't care for. Because he's been very restrained for the rest of this. Because there's a lot of stuff that is similar to the Fifth Element, but is done better. Because it's dialed back and it's less on the nose or underlined with stupid music.
Yeah.
But so that happens, and then he cuts Laureline out of the goop, and is that when he does his chase scene?
Yeah. Oh, it's like, yeah, you cut all these other people out.
Yeah, because the whole thing was they weren't designed to kill you at all.
Yeah.
They were designed to
as all the best jizz guns do.
Yes.
Yeah, so this is where I love this chase scene, and I just wish he wasn't in it. Well, so he starts running, he's shooting portals, shooting platforms to run on, and then he hits like kind of like the Samus from Metroid 2 or Super Metroid style, where it's just power up, running straight through fucking walls.
Yeah.
It's like, this is kind of great. Like I'm liking what's happening.
It was fun.
I can almost forget that this guy sucks at everything.
Yeah, because he wasn't talking. But then that chasing ends when they've gotten on their ship and they're like, oh no, you got to get on a ship. He asked them like, what dock am I near? And like, oh, you're by like portal 81. Turns out that's a mistake. It's 18. The map's upside down. But he goes bursting through this wall out into open space and starts falling. Not like just keeping going his direction. He starts falling. Which I didn't think, not to Neil deGrasse Tyson, it just didn't make much sense to me.
Well, it depends on where the center of gravity is in the station. So if the center of gravity in the station was below where he jumped out, he would have been drawn towards the largest mass near it.
Yeah, I guess I didn't know. I thought it was just in the middle of nowhere. So I don't know why he would be.
No, but I mean, he's like, if the station's so big that it almost threw Earth's orbit out.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter. But I mean, you're probably right. I don't really know. But it was all just, it wasn't done. It wasn't done in any way that like, it was just, okay, now this is happening.
I may be right. However, that's accidental.
Crazy.
No.
But I just may be the lunatic you're
don't
looking for.
quote the Cars at me?
Billy Joel.
Oh, sorry.
How dare you?
Oh, I was thinking, is that like, you may think I'm crazy.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah. No, if I'm right, it's not because he thought about that at all. Like that's 100. Because as I was saying that, I went, oh wait, no, this is a Besson movie. There's no fucking way you give any thought to this.
Which Besson, like this movie got me thinking that Besson is kind of Michael Bay in his own way. Like he's gonna make this kind of movie, and it's gonna be this kind of dumb, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah. So yeah, he runs out, and then his ship picks him up. And
I love their ship. By the way, their ship is just no. The alien, the Pearl ship or whatever.
Yeah.
It's just like a triangle, like a 3-dimensional. It's. I mean, it's a little bit fancier than that, but it's just this geometric shape.
No, it's like the ship from that old '80s game, the Patu ship.
Yeah, like the asteroids.
Yeah, asteroids. That's what I was thinking of. Yeah.
The Patu ship. That's actually his name. The Patu 2.
Yeah, Patu 2.
Yeah. So there's the space chasing happening, and then he's gonna shoot it, but then it splits into tons of tiny ships of the same kind.
Also liked very much. And also, like this ship's outmaneuvering me. I can't do it in a ship this big. I'm gonna hop in my fucking
Skyjet.
But which really fun.
Yeah, it's a tiny little ship that then he starts chasing them in. I thought that whole chase sequence, that I think might have been the last little bit where I was still on board with this, because that was all exciting, but then he goes out of range.
Yeah.
And then they lose him, and then becomes the first of a series of protracted side plots where one has to go rescue the other.
This is where it lost me a little bit. Didn't lose me completely, but yeah, this is where it goes, because this is where she gets arrested, or she's being held so she doesn't go after Valerian. And I like the way she breaks out. She kind of calls her shots, which I always like in a movie.
Yeah.
Like I like that like in Sherlock Holmes, where he's like, well, first I'm going to break your nose, then I'm going to spin you around and elbow you in the face. And that wasn't Sherlock Holmes. What was that from?
No, I think it might have been.
Okay.
But But I also just like because it was a chance to see her do something.
Yeah, and she's being
because
badass.
well,
Yeah.
and it was just like, oh, let's focus on this more simply because he's just the worst. She's not great, but he's just a bit.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying she's great, but it's so like she was great because he wasn't there. And it's
Yeah.
like if she was paired against like somebody that wasn't made of wood
Mhm.
or like some kind of like anthropomorphic cardboard, she probably would have looked bad in this film. but,
Right,
you know. So she breaks out from the idiot guards that are guarding her, and it's just in the boy, every single military in every sci-fi movie is fucking incompetent.
Yes.
And she's racing after Valerian to try to save him. And
What happens is so she encounters the doggy aliens,
yeah.
and they kind of explain.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about this whole sequence.
Yeah, there's this thing where she kind of takes them aside. She's like, "You got to tell me where he is, because I'm sure you're going to know." They have this whole back and forth about them helping her or not for money, or whether or not she's going to just kill them. And she's like, for the character they wanted Valerian to be, she's much more believable as that character.
Oh,
We just
yeah,
watch her
yeah.
do badass things and then just be like, "I'm not taking any shit from anybody."
Yeah.
And so that worked a little bit better than anything he did, other than the running around.
Yeah, but she could have done that. That's fine.
Yeah, no, that's- yeah.
there didn't need to be him. I just liked the way they did that. Fuck, it could have been fucking Super Mario. I don't care.
But so then it ends up this whole thing where they take her on this crazy adventure with a sea captain to get this jellyfish that knows things, I guess.
Well, it's a
that was one
psychic-
of those. It was
it's-
just like, okay.
Well, it's a psychic jellyfish that can predict the future and finding
Something it didn't make a goddamn lick of sense.
Yeah.
But it was all right. So yeah, they get this sea captain, they go underwater, and this jellyfish lives on the back of this giant thing. They get the jellyfish, the giant thing chases them. And then she has to wear the jellyfish. And you can actually see, because I was actually watching the movie with headphones on, and you could really notice the audio editing, because this movie is only PG-13, that they're like, well, you're supposed to put the thing on your head, and then it will figure out, like, think of Valerian, and it will see pictures of him, and then tell you where he is somehow. And she says something to the effect of, like, so you want me to stick my head in this thing's mouth? She clearly says ass, and they just cut it to be.
Oh, really?
They redubbed it to be mouth, which it doesn't matter. But I just noticed that, and I'm like, I wonder why they got rid of that. PG-13.
Yeah.
But yeah, so she sticks the jellyfish on her head, and there's this weird sequence of her remembering what Valerian looks like, and a little recap of the movie thus far. And then she finds out he's passed out by this number.
Well, and then you're missing an odd beat here. Again, in a movie filled with odd beats, you can't leave the jellyfish on for more than a minute, or it starts eating your memories.
Right.
She left it on for a minute 10, and like, wow, a new record, a minute 10.
Yeah.
And then nothing comes of it.
Nothing. It does not matter.
Like, what? Why?
Yeah.
Why establish that?
Yeah.
They're so fucking weird. Like, what?
That was weird. I sort of just went okay, because like this movie, because there's so much goofy stuff happening, like it's so much like world building, and like now there's this thing and now there's this thing. I just kind of fine, whatever.
Yeah.
But it was the presentation of it was done enough. It's still a stupid scene. Like that was but it didn't bother me as much. It's like why not? Why wouldn't it? Why wouldn't there be this jellyfish that lets you see the future?
And here's a thing that's probably more your style of complaining about films.
Correct.
That the sea captain submarine guy was listening to like a Bob Marley song.
Yeah, well, there's another track that drops later that I'll complain about when that shows up.
Yeah, because I was just weird. It's like, why would you be listening? I mean, that's 1,000 years old.
Yeah, at least at this point.
Yeah, it's like a weird, like a fucking odd choice that's still. I know the track you're talking about, but this was the first one.
Yeah.
So she's like, oh, I know where he is. She goes and finds him, and he's passed out by his space sled.
Skyjack
Yeah.
or whatever.
She wakes him up. Maybe the dumbest scene that's ever happened in a film happens. Oh, the butterflies are so pretty. Lets one land on her hand. Larry goes, just don't let them touch you, because some of them are... And she gets pulled up by a giant alien with a fishing rod.
Well, it's the second dumbest scene, because to me that was a callback to Prometheus, where you have a person that's a PhD in something. I forget what hers was in, but she earlier mentions that she's got like a PhD and stuff or whatever. She's not an idiot. In Prometheus, it was a guy that was like specifically like a zoologist.
Yeah.
Where they find the eggs that open up, and then he's like, well, what's that? Oh, look at this weird little snake thing. I'm going to try to pet it. And then it murders him. And that's supposed to be a surprise. So that's exactly what I thought of in that whole scene. I'm like,
Yeah.
well, being around aliens and weird things that could likely hurt you, I don't think is new to you being the position that you're in, but somehow you're like, oh, look, a butterfly.
But also, how does he know that and she doesn't, where they're partners?
because he's Valerian.
That's
And
dumb.
he just knows that.
Because it seems like in the relationship they've established,
He's had other
it seems like
partners.
she's the smart one.
You would think, yeah.
Anyway, yeah, so she gets caught by Earthworm Jim.
Yeah.
That is a dumb fucking thing, and that leads to the whole side quest that is dumb as shit.
So stupid. So yeah, these aliens that fish her up. Like, I don't understand what they're doing in general, because this isn't a populated area of the station. So these guys just, I don't know what they're trying to catch otherwise.
Yeah, you would think they probably should have established a different animal that like naturally eats those butterfly that they're fishing for.
It also got me thinking about this race seems extremely primitive in a lot of ways, and they're treated really stupid. Like, I mean, they're treated as really stupid. And how are they on this ship? You know, like, did they somehow, how did they get on this? Which I'm not saying as this sort of incredulous, like, well, what? This movie, there's so much going on. There's so many different races of happening that there could be a story of them just being like, no, they stowawayed. Two of them stowawayed and they blinked and this other stuff happened.
They also reminded me of the bad guys from the Mario Brothers movie with Bob Hoskins.
Oh, the Goombas.
Yeah, were they the
tiny,
Goombas? I couldn't remember.
yeah,
one with
the tiny heads and giant bodies.
That's all I could think of, and their personality matches that as well. So it's like, oh, this is a weird Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah, well, yeah, you had mentioned Earthworm Jim. I was thinking of Toe Jam and Earl.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah. But
this reminds us of all the greats.
The classics that everyone loves.
The rim ball.
But so his plan he sees her get taken away. So he's like, oh, I know what I need to do. So he throws himself off a cliff to try to catch a butterfly.
Yeah, which
she was just standing there doing. Why did you just do that?
And also, doesn't he have like hover boots?
Why not? Maybe, I don't know.
I thought he used like boots to like fly at some
They're
point.
probably broken. I don't know.
Yeah. Maybe he doesn't. I don't know.
So he gets taken up as well, and they have taken her, put her in this sort of wicker basket that one of them is taking into an area that has misspelled in English, no foreigners allowed.
Yeah,
that's their lair. He sees that happen. He's like, well, I got to get in there, and a voice said, Alexx, his computer goes, oh, well, the best way to do that would be to go on this side quest to get a glamopod.
Yeah.
And infiltrate that way since foreigners aren't allowed. And just immediately, just like, oh gosh, really? The thing with I know they established that there's this radiation thing and it's growing or something. I never really felt that very much was at stake. There wasn't this like ticking time bomb that I felt that like, we got to do this. We got to do this. I'm just like, well, we've seen these primitive aliens get blown up at the beginning, and they have their, we know they want the converter, and they've taken and they've shot everybody with the goop guns and kidnapped the colonel. Okay. Like, I don't know what their overall plan is. I don't know that they're related to the radiation thing. I just know that a couple things have happened and that nothing really seems to be at stake. And so to just pad it with this whole side quest thing is so just maddening.
And this is the time of the movie where, well, it's not so much the movie's run out of a kind of magical steam.
Yes.
But now we're at the boring bit. So we're at the boring bit, so we're not carried by, oh, what an inventive thing I'm looking at, or what newness. It's just, oh, look, there's a bunch of Koopas just trying to like, you know.
It reminded me of just the whole concept of 3D movies. Whenever you see a movie in 3D, whenever I've seen a movie in 3D anyway, it's always like, oh, there's a couple of really cool bits at the beginning, and then eventually just the glasses just get uncomfortable, and it doesn't really matter anymore. And that's kind of, I've entered into this world, and it's been magical or whatever, but now now you need to kind of do something with it. Yeah.
And so she gets kidnapped, and then there's a whole thing where they're trying to get her to, the aliens are trying to get her to dress up.
Which again, them treating these aliens like they're dumb as hell, because this alien thing keeps showing up, holding up dresses like, oh, how about this one? And Loreline's like, no, let me out of here. And the aliens is just like, done in this one. And it's not even just that they're not communicating, they don't understand each other. Like, this alien is dumb.
No, it's played to be, just absolute idiot, not cultural misunderstanding.
Yeah. Well, this is what I love. Well, sorry. Well, just that how, like, the computer's like, well, you need to get a Glamopod. Fortunately, there's this red light district just right next door.
Yeah.
Even though you seemingly are in a cave in an abandoned area of the ship that no one really cares about. Oh no, but there's a fuck palace just right this way.
Yeah.
And this part of the movie made me extremely mad.
Please, that's why I was being quiet here this is where that happens.
Well, because I think this is Hollywood making fun of me. Because for years I've correctly said that Ethan Hawke and the guy from Sugar Ray,
Mark McGrath,
are the same dude.
That's so fucking funny you said that.
And then
I
they
thought that was
have
Mark McGrath for the longest time.
And then they have Ethan Hawke basically play Mark McGrath. And I'm just like, fuck you.
Yeah.
Because you're just trying to shove this in my face, confuse the issue.
Yeah, that's funny. Because, boy, did I think that was Mark McGrath until I looked at the IMDb and went, oh, that was Ethan Hawke?
Well, I saw his name in the credits and kind of went, oh boy. Because I'm not a big fan of his work. Not like
oh, come on, Green Machine was great.
I sure that's a movie.
No, it's a Sugar Ray song.
Oh no, Sugar Ray is great. I'm sorry, I thought you were talking about Ethan Hawke.
Well, you missed before we enter into the Ethan Hawke part. I thought this was where you would find the soundtrack annoying.
Yeah, no, this is also
okay. This was the spot.
This is Wyclef Jean's "Staying Alive."
Yeah,
which is this was for me personally was the turning point of Wyclef Jean because I kind of liked the first Fugees album and then some of his whole work, but that song was just him rapping over a lifted Bee Gees. Like it was so shitty, and like this is your pull for this area. So it's him walking through the red light district and encountering all these different women that want to have sex with him. Valerian, that is.
Yeah, one of which was Jessica Rabbit.
Yes, for some reason.
Okay.
And that is playing. Because also I'd like to just point out, that's Wyclef Jean Staying Alive, not like a sexy song.
No.
Like it's just kind of like, yeah, it's the Bee Gees Staying Alive, so it's kind of a disco-y sort of thing, but this is supposed to be like this salacious whatever. Not that I necessarily need, but it was just, that was your music choice. Again, something from, at this point, thousands of years ago, that now is, at this point, 20 years old, that I bet half the people listening to the show haven't thought about this song in forever.
Yeah. Really awkward choice. And also, like, weird. I mean, I'm fine with the aliens wanting to fuck him because I just assume they're prostitutes.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. He's just a guy he's a body.
Yeah, it was just an awkward scene. We've already done the wide-eyed with wonder walking through an area a few times in the film. We don't need it with, like, oh, now you could probably fuck the wonder. Like,
yeah, what if the big market had titties?
Yeah. So this is where he meets Mark McGrath, aka Ethan Hawke.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, hey, you got a what's it called?
Like a Glamopod.
Glamopod. And he's like, man, I got the best one in the universe. And then he sits him down for a burlesque show.
Yes.
What's a Glamopod?
That thing, I guess.
So why was he so shocked when she starts shape-shifting, since he's obviously aware of what a Glamopod is?
Yeah, I don't know. And maybe he doesn't know. Maybe he would have to know. Because
because he asked about one.
I don't know. Because you as the audience are supposed to be like, oh, wow. Yeah. So what happens, and I kind of like this scene, even though I was very, like, get on with it. And there was a lot that was gross about it. So it's the Glamopod is played by Rihanna, singing sensation. So she comes out and basically just does a striptease routine and all these like different sexy outfits. One's kind of like this cabaret kind of thing. There's a schoolgirl thing. There's a weird African tribal dance thing happening. Yeah. And then, a pole comes down. And the whole time Mark McGrath, Ethan Hawke, is playing this keyboard kind of thing, accompanying her. And the whole thing ends. And I actually kind of like this moment where you just hear him go like, I don't know how much more I can do this. Where
I don't think I picked up on that.
Yeah, like you see him like pull out a bottle of booze and just be like, oh God. Where The Fifth Element would have been like a close up on his face being like, oh no, and like drinking and rolling his eyes all big, and it would have been played by Brian James.
Now I have a note here.
Mm-hmm.
I make a note of saying the Rihanna scene is neat, but what's the business model? He's in a room by himself, watching this lady dance a burlesque show while shape changing. How much could he possibly be paying to watch that show, to have it be performed for him and him alone?
Well, I think the idea was that this was supposed to entice him to be like, oh yes, I like this Glamopod. Let me pay you money and then take it to do whatever I want, whatever awful things I'm going to do with it.
Yeah, that seems like a really niche market.
Yeah. to sound like you and give excuses for this. There might be a thing where it's like, if you want, hey, I want a Mandalorian, and a Mandalorian would come out and shake it for you and be like, yep, that's the Mandalorian for me.
You mean Amanda Shawan, you piece of shit?
Whatever. No, the Mandalorians were the ones that killed.
Yeah, they were the bad guys. Why would you want to be them? What, you want to dress up like a Nazi? Are you Prince Philip?
I'm talking about boning them. I'm not talking about being them.
Yeah, I totally fucked those warthog-looking pieces of shit. Yeah.
I
dare
figured
you
you
do that to Lilu.
But I'm just saying, so I don't know if that's just the presentation field, and then you're supposed to.
So you're
buy
saying
them.
this is kind of like the window of the red light district. So you're just looking at the goods. Look how great she can shape change. Fine. That's a good point, Alex. I would say this though. You would think she would change it to something other than the same lady with a different outfit.
Yeah. Well, my guess is that. I don't have a guess because it's pretty stupid. It's just I mean, I was gonna go like, well, it's human because it's gonna be human, but yeah, there's more humans than just Rihanna.
Yeah, it's just
I'm told
it just seems to be hemorrhaging money. But anyway,
yeah,
it was fine. It was a fun scene, you know.
I guess, but yeah, it was this thing where it's like, okay, get on with like I said, I don't know what's at stake. Everything just kind of feels like faffing about at this point. Like, let's just get on with it.
So it turns out that she's a shape-changing cephalopod.
Bubble.
Mark McGrath gets mad at them, and he kills Mark McGrath. Shocks him.
Well, he certainly incapacitates him. Whether or not that's murder or not, we don't know.
Well, because he says no. He says he won't do this to anybody else anymore, or something like that.
Or he says he won't be doing it for a while. So maybe he did actually just straight up murder.
Yeah,
him.
Just straight up murders the singer of Sugar Ray. I mean, he was in Sharknado. That man's a national hero. Or Sharknado 2, maybe 3. Maybe Sharknado. May the 4th be with you.
Dig upwards.
The 4th Awakens, or whatever the part 4 was called.
Anyway, so that whole scene happens.
Sharknado, stay in a 5.
Yeah, I'm gonna wait for you to.
Sharknado 6 explosion.
No, I'm not waiting for that at all.
Sharknado, Stairway to 7.
Oh, jeez.
Sharknado, 8 crazy nights underwater with a shark. Sharknado, 9, please stop eating me in German.
But please eat me in English?
Yeah. Sharknado.
This is America. If you're going to eat me in English. Speaking of, thank you. Speaking of pointless and awful deviations. So after that whole scene, which goes way too long. So then because he's like, I want to, he puts a gun to Rihanna's head, basically, and it's just like, I'm going to make you do this stuff for me because I'm charming and this is how I solve problems. You come with me and I guarantee you freedom. She's like, well, what's freedom to an illegal alien that has no home?
Well, no, I mean, that's the thing is when she said that, she might as well have transformed into somebody with a red shirt on. Yeah. Because I just went, oh, this lady is dead as fuck. The second, they got together. And so, I guess they get convinced to blah, blah, blah. And so they go to rescue Lorelai.
Well, so she transforms into one of those things. She's unfamiliar with what they are. She's like, well, oh, boy, I usually need more time to do this. She transforms into one of those, and he's inside her. Yeah. Like, she has enveloped him and then transformed into one of these things because she's like she looks like one of those, do you remember those, I don't remember if they were Colgate or Crest, but in the 90s, they were like these hip, cool, sunglass-wearing dollops of toothpaste that played guitar and were in a band in the commercials. Oh. And she looked exactly like that.
I was thinking it looked like a Jake suit from Adventure Time.
I don't know that one.
Finn and Jake. So Jake's the shape-shifting dog. Finn steps inside of him and wears him as a suit sometimes and becomes super powerful.
No, it's a toothpaste guy. Sorry. It was a toothpaste man. But so they go in, and so the whole dressing up of trying to get Lorelai to try on different dresses and stuff leads to this big scene. And this is the most Fifth Element-y scene. Bubble and Valerian find themselves in this trail of people all carrying dishes, crazy big dishes of gross-looking alien food. And then Lorelai, in a fancy, almost bridal gown and this giant hat, is also carrying a giant dish at the end. They're all just going up to this big emperor of the weird-looking aliens, who takes a bite of one and then spits it out. He's like, no, I don't like this. Next to him is the lady alien thing that was trying to get Lorelai to put on the dresses earlier, and she is hamming it up more than I've ever seen a CG thing do. And I've seen the Minions movie. But everything, she's like, oh, is he going to like it? Oh, no, he doesn't. Oh, and like super, like she's in a silent film kind of acting. And that was back to the stupid Fifth Element style of Luc Besson of completely over the top and unnecessarily cartoonish.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to agree with any of this. I mean, you can't be hating on Fifth Element.
Okay, so I take that as implicit, yes. So
Well, not
so this
implicit, but
well, so this continues on, and he tries these different foods and doesn't like it. But then when Laureline gets up there, she just has a giant lemon on her tray, and he's super excited. And he takes a lemon and sprays it on her giant hat, which looks like like a bowl basically, and her head is sticking through the top. And he's going to try to take off the top of her head. And so Valerian and Bubble burst into action, and somehow Valerian has control of Bubble, because it's been established that Bubble like doesn't know, trying to learn how to use this body. This is weird to me. And then all of a sudden they're hopping over aliens and stabbing them.
well, he says, "I'll take it from here" or something like that, which is weird though. You're right,
Yeah.
because like, how would he know how to control like a shape-changing cephalopod?
Yeah. So fine, whatever.
Oh, glamopod.
Yeah.
Cephalopod.
There
the
you go.
Glamorous.
Sure.
Oh.
Toothpaste guy. So there's an action scene where they murder everyone in there for some reason.
Oh yeah, there's lots
Yeah.
of just, and they did nothing. They were just serving food to their emperor.
Yeah. I mean, eventually some soldiers show up.
Oh,
But
either way, still, you're the invading army. You're
Yeah.
just murdering soldiers.
yeah. I mean, he was going to eat that lady's head, but you don't know their customs. But they end up cutting off the evil emperor guy's head. And the stupid overacting lady alien goes like, puts her finger up, it's like, what? And then falls backward.
Yeah.
Again, a very Brian James in Fifth Element kind of stupid thing.
Yeah, you're very right. Yeah, that is a style of acting.
Yeah.
And then she gets knocked out by the emperor's crown hitting her on the head.
Yeah, and
Because
goes
apparently-
cross-eyed.
Yeah, because apparently she's made of paper.
Yeah, so whatever. Then they end up escaping in a stupid way, and
Well, they fall through a garbage chute.
in the doing so, Bubble gets stabbed a whole bunch.
She says, "Oh, I guess I got hurt in the fight." It was established earlier that he stabbed through her as a fight move. Like, I mean, her body like contorted to miss.
Yeah.
So you would think somebody of that like just shape changed to not be stabbed.
Right. Well, you'd have to be aware that you're being stabbed. He could have snuck up behind her.
No, but I'm saying once you're stabbed, you can change the entire makeup of your body. You could just
Well,
change it
apparently
to not
not.
be stabbed anymore.
Apparently not, because she got stabbed.
No, apparently, because
I'm
that
saying
was
your
dumb.
whole premise just falls apart because she got stabbed.
No, it's stupid. And I'm saying this as someone that defended the Fifth Element. This is stupid.
Right. Well, and it gives her a chance to give this whole tearful speech about how, like, it's clear you love this woman. You know, she's the one. She's great. Don't be like me and live a lonely life of being stabbed.
Yeah, and all that did was make me think more along the lines of, yeah, Laureline is pretty great. I hope she finds somebody that isn't him, because
yeah.
he's terrible.
I hope she marries the weird pockmarked other good general guy. He seems like he's got stuff going on.
Oh, yeah, the guy that kind of looks like General Hux's dad.
Yeah,
Yeah,
totally.
yeah.
Or the good brother. Which we've kind of skipped over this. I don't know how much of this has been established at this point, but the commander, Clive Owen, has one of these pearl aliens stashed away
Oh,
that they're
yeah.
torturing
Yeah.
to try to get some sort of information out of.
I still don't quite understand what they're trying to get out of him.
Yeah, and at some point, redhead guy finds out about it as well. It starts getting revealed that even redhead guy doesn't have information about what happened on the planet Maul. Valerian and Laureline get back onto the main plot of the movie and actually get down to where they're supposed to be, down to this infected area. And it's not infected at all. It's the Pearl aliens have built a little enclave down there.
And so they meet up with them. And basically, there's like, hey, well, we're going to sit you down and tell you what really happened. And they give the backstory of their planet dying.
But then, so they give their whole backstory about, turns out there was a big space fight above their planet, and all the ships that were blowing up were falling to their planet. And the big mothership that they were fighting, being like an asteroid that killed the dinosaurs kind of thing.
Yeah.
And my favorite part of this was, before that happens, you see the interior of the Federation ship. I don't know what the good guys are called. And the guy goes up to a figure you only see over his shoulder. And it's like, well, do we launch the fusion missiles or something, some sci-fi term for nuclear missiles? And he's like, absolutely. And it's clearly Clive Owen, but they're, no one else has a British accent like that.
Yeah, they're trying
but
not to
there's
do
like,
that.
oh, who could it be? Me, who could may or may not be Clive Owen, says launch the fusion missiles. They do. And so the stuff falls to Earth. And so it ends up being, turns out there was this huge cover-up of that because Clive Owen knew that there was one guy that claimed that no scan showed there was actually a complex life on the planet. And he had that guy murdered.
So that's so then this is where they wake up the colonel guy, right?
Yeah, sure.
And he gives a speech. He's like, "Yeah, I blew up those savages' planet." And I went, Really? You literally have the British accent when you're doing the colonial, you
Yeah.
call anybody that isn't from the empire savages. Like, oh, it's so
Also,
fucking so
hey, French people, maybe, glass houses and all that. French colonialism is also a thing.
No, I don't think so. I'm pretty sure they're just sexy with smelly armpits.
All right.
I'm world traveled.
I get my knowledge about the cultures from Family Guy.
Baguettes. So he's sitting there going, "Those savages planet. Where the in heavy quote savages? They're standing right there.
Yeah,
I mean,
dude,
they're like
we are-
right there.
Yeah. I know we haven't invented pants yet, but come on. So at this point, like, because good guy Hux, redhead guy,
Oh yeah, he's gonna blow up the entrance to the.
they figured out because they're gonna blow everything up, and Chekhov's androids, the big Cylon looking dudes, are down there as well, and also in the control room. They're all converging, and they're starting to realize the humans are like, oh, the pearls have come out of this radiation thing or whatever. They're not attacking us. Everything looks cool. Maybe we don't need to blow up all these bombs that we have set up. We're not real sure what's happening.
Yeah, so the pearls came out. They're like standing in line, holding hands.
Yeah,
like a
almost like
like a pearl necklace. Yeah,
almost like.
So-
Well, I was
so-
going to say Close Encounters of the Third Kind. But
Oh
yeah,
no,
no, sure.
I
we
was
can
gonna say the undulating area shot out a pearl necklace.
right.
Okay,
So
I'm sorry.
I'm just undulating area is just upsetting.
I know. But I've been waiting to say that since I pointed out that they're the name of that planet, the name of those people were pearls, and I was like, we're running out of time here. I have to make a tough pearl
I
necklace
gotta
joke,
get in there.
and I'm sure isn't gonna make it to the final cut.
Oh no. But after hearing the alien story about how we just want to get our world back, basically, Lorelai and Valerian are trying to contact the Central Command and be like, hey, don't blow up these people. They're cool.
Yeah, they do it for some old ass capsule
Yeah.
from like our time.
Yeah, so they don't know. Yeah, they have no way to verify that it's them. Like, no, trust us, it is because of her temper. That's what it
Yeah.
is. Like, oh, she's a bitch. So
Yeah.
clearly it's her. Awesome. Cool, Luc Besson.
Yeah,
But,
really is a great portrayal of women, as most of Besson's work.
So cool. But then they get the colonel, and the colonel's like, a soldier would rather die than be humiliated. So fuck all y'all.
Yeah.
Death to fake friends. And he activates the robots, and the robots start shooting everybody. And then just a battle ensues that I don't care anymore.
Yeah, I totally kind of forget what happened. So they win. I don't remember how.
Yeah,
but
well,
somehow-
there's like a countdown. I don't know what the countdown. I forget what the countdown.
It was
about.
for the blowing up stuff back when
Right.
they thought they had to blow their way in.
Well, and so basically their ship, the Pearl ship, blasts out of the side of the space station, and they escape, presumably with Valerian and.
Oh yeah, before that we have to cover a couple of things before. So the countdown's happening. Neza, the second in command to good guy Hux, is like, Neza, you have to stop the countdown.
Oh yeah,
And
the,
okay,
the,
here's the
the
thing is-
completely just wooden Asian guy.
How the fuck did Neza survive? Because that dude had heroic death fucking
yeah.
tattooed across his fucking
Yeah.
forehead. He should have, with his last gasping breath, bloody fingered hit the last button to stop
Yeah.
the countdown. And somehow Neza survived,
That-
which is the
well-
most shocking thing I've seen in a movie in a long fucking time.
Because I think they made a conscious effort to have that character be uninteresting as possible, in performance and everything. That having him die might be interesting, and they didn't want to break that. So kudos to
Fair
you,
enough, yeah.
because he's just like every line was just like, well, that's her temper.
Yeah.
Yes,
So they stop the countdown and they leave the ship. The pearls blast off in their spaceship with Valerian and Lorelai in the ship. And they're like, hey, we're gonna go back to our, oh, we don't know. We missed a very important part.
Uh-oh.
Just the last pin of how shitty this fucking character is written. Oh wow! Turns out you guys were genocided by us. Here, have your pearl back. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I can't give you this lizard. I'm a soldier. Soldiers follow orders. You just punched your commanding officer in
Yeah.
the face. You've never followed. This character is written so badly.
Yeah.
That scene infuriated me. How can that be a character beat? And the character beat that pays off with him winning her over in the end, going, oh, I guess I can leave my soldier ways. You've been leaving your soldier ways the whole fucking movie, asshat.
All they
Just-
want is
oh, God.
this the converter. That's what this whole thing's been about. And you're like, oh no.
No, I can't do
absolutely
it.
Not.
I'm a soldier. I follow orders. No, you just
You
punched your
don't.
commanding
Yeah.
officer in the face. God, that annoyed me. Because one, he sucks at acting.
Yes.
That kid was terrible, uncharismatic. But also, the character is written so fucking poorly.
It's really stupid.
So I guess he goes, "Oh, I had to change your heart. Here, have the lizard thing." Then they blast off, and we see the last scene of the movie.
Well, before we get to that,
Oh,
like
sorry.
we've really kind of glossed over that the whole thing they're after is a thing that shits. That's its big power.
Yeah, it replicates stuff by
Yeah,
shitting it.
Yeah, it just shits. And I like that it's just sort of, it's not highlighted as being like, it's shitting. Look at
Yeah.
this. Look at how stupid this is. Or treated with any kind of reverence. It's just, it's shit.
Yeah, that's what it is.
And I kind of like that. It's like, no, it's weird, isn't it?
Here's what I wanted at the end, is to somehow have the thing eat itself and then replicate. Because their culture is dead.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's only one of them left. There's only one of the little lizard things left. So I thought it'd be a cool thing at the end, which somehow watch it kind of eat itself in like a Mobius kind of
Why
circle.
would it eat itself?
Because then it would replicate itself.
I understand that, but that's a weird.
No, but that's what I'm saying.
I don't think it's got higher brain functions
No,
to
but
be like,
that's what
oh,
I'm
you know
saying.
what would be cool?
But it's like a fucked up acid trip of a movie. I thought that would be like
Yeah.
a nice weird exclamation point at the end that this fucking thing just somehow like turns in on itself and shits out himself. That would be fucking awesome.
What if they fed it their civilization? And they could.
You're blowing my mind.
Black Mirror, season 5.
So Cardboard and Acceptable are in an old pod.
Like a skate pod, yeah.
And he's like, "So you gonna marry me or not?" And
The
she's-
common human proposal.
yeah. And he's like, "Here, have a pearl that there's a wire wrapped around. I guess that's an engagement ring." She's like, "Oh well,
I got this at a craft fair for you, baby.
You stole lizard shit from me." He's like, "So you're gonna marry me?" And she goes, "Well, maybe."
And they start making out.
And then they make out in a capsule. Which I'm gonna say this: making out in a capsule don't live for the greatest movie ever made, because that's how the Fifth Element ended.
Moonraker?
No,
That's
the
how
Fifth Element
Moonraker
ended.
ends.
No, but the Fifth Element came first.
No,
Shut up.
it
It did. Fifth Element just did everything first.
Okay.
It's the greatest movie ever made.
Well, yeah, well,
Ah.
well, she starts like kissing on him, and he's like, well, wait, now I've grown as a character. And I remember what he says, but he stops the kissing. Does he be like, but, does that mean
Yeah.
yes or no? Because now I'm a good guy. What he says, I want you to be my only playlist.
Yeah.
Which, like, hey, let me remind you of all the gross people I've had sex with right before we have sex.
Yeah.
All right, now let's dive in.
And then it says, "To my dad." If I was Luc Besson's dad, I'd be like, I mean, I'm probably dead because I'm pretty sure why that's there. But also from heaven, I go, no, could you put it on the Fifth Element? It was better. Because that's how French people sound. They sound like a Muppet in English.
Yes. Well, I also like,
now,
for the callback thing, I like that he's like an overbearing father. It's like, all I wanted for my son was to make a movie where people fuck in a tube.
Yeah.
I did it, Dad.
Yeah.
But it could be better. What if you do 2 movies? Turns out I need 2 movies. He died before he knew if it was enough. If his dad was satisfied with the tube fucking.
Well,
We'll
maybe
never
his
know.
dad will psychically be inside of him.
Yeah, that's
Until
true.
some lady. Oh, we didn't even fucking really touch on that. That the soul of that first fucking
Yeah.
pearl was in. Why would you choose that asshat?
Yeah, because it just, it made it seem like it was a deliberate choice rather than just he was in the way of the soul path or whatever.
Also, no, but it made me think the pearls maybe deserve to die, because if they choose this shithead, that's their fucking savior. Fuck you.
Well, they got the job done.
Yeah. So yeah, that was Valerian in the City of 1,000 Worlds.
Yeah, excellent. I mean, some neat world building, beautiful locations, some neat effects, but just really, really meandering. And the 2 leads just sink this thing. It's
Yeah.
If you had at all decent people, particularly him, like he's so bad that it just.
Yeah, I think if she had anything to act against, it
Mm-hmm.
would have been better. Because I have a hard time faulting her, even though she didn't do that well. But it's just one of those things of like, how do you do well in this? Like
Yeah.
when you're acting
It
against,
seems like she was hamstrung a little bit, but
Yeah.
yeah.
'Cause it seems
I don't
like-
think she's that great, but I will concede that.
Well, the
he
scenes
made
that
it
she was
worse.
by herself, she was totally good.
Yeah.
At least acceptable. And I think with a stronger lead, that acceptable kind of gets bumped up. And yeah, no, it's
Yeah,
weird.
if I
'cause it's
wanted
like,
to see a bunch of CG nonsense with 2 leads that have no charisma, I'd watch Scott Pilgrim.
burn.
Yeah.
But also, you should have just said the prequels there, because I mean, it's really
Yeah, same
CG
thing.
nonsense
Yeah.
with 2 leads, with absolutely no charisma.
Yeah. But no one in that has any charisma.
No,
Technically, I'm
Liam
correct.
Neeson does,
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
and what's his name?
Watto.
No, well, I mean, Watto's one of the greatest charismas ever.
Yeah.
Who's the other guy?
Sebulba. Jar Jar Binks.
No. Greg Proops as the
Yes,
as
great.
the-
Yes, as the left head.
Yeah. No, Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan. Like
yeah.
they both were.
Yeah.
They both did. I look forward to watching this again while it's on in the background. I never want to pay attention to it, but I look forward to the rest of my life having this just kind of on, like at a bar. I would love to have this on at the bar and look up every now and again and go, what the fuck is this? Oh, it's Valerian.
Yeah.
Like, I'm looking so forward to recognizing this at a bar and not paying all that much attention to it. So watch it.
Or
If you haven't
don't.
already, because I don't know what the fuck you're doing listening to us for this long without having watched it. All right. So, John, what are we watching next time?
Oh. I can't see anything anymore.
Sorry, let me just load my gun up with less fingers than I was normally allocated.
Oh, that doesn't happen until subsequent books.
Hey, John, spoiler alert.
Sorry. We're gonna do.
Why are you apologizing? I'm the one that said it.
Yeah, we're gonna do the Dark Tower.
Idris Elba.
And who's apparently in the studio, Matthew McConaughey. After that dead-on impression, I thought maybe he was right here.
It's pretty spot on. Wolf of Wall Street, baby. So we're watching The Dark Tower. Stephen King penned, some other asshole directed, and spoiler alert, it's like every Stephen King movie that's not based on one of his short stories. Probably pretty terrible. Well, I guess The Shining's good, but he said that was terrible.
What about The Langoliers with Bronson Pinchot? That's based on one of his short stories.
No. This is one of those all carp or fish, not all fish or carp situations. I just mean of the Stephen King adaptations that happen to be good.
Yeah.
Pretty much all of them are based on the short stories, or The Shining, which he's kind of disavowed the good version.
Right. Yeah, because it's not. Yeah.
Yeah, but like Shawshank, fucking good times.
Yeah.
Did a good. The one with River Phoenix and the fat kid
and Will Wheaton.
Yeah, Stand By Me.
Stand By Me.
Good stuff.
Then the Night Flyer with Miguel Ferrer and a vampire that pees blood.
Oh,
that one's not good.
I don't think I saw that. Yeah.
That's all.
Did he write Silver Bullet?
He did.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did. I think that might be a novel though.
Or the one with Charlie Sheen and the trucks that come to life.
That's Emilio Estevez, and it's Maximum Overdrive.
Well, it's Martin Sheen's kid. I was close.
That's true. Yeah, you were halfway there.
I was an Estevez away.
Half of the men at
I
work.
was halfway there, co-starring in Young Guns Part 2.
That's true.
Live on a Prayer.
Bon
This is
Jovi.
really, really stupid at this point. So we're gonna watch The Dark Tower for next episode. Watch it. It's available somewhere, I hope.
Yeah, probably the usual suspects.
Yeah, if it's
Wherever the usual suspects is, you can probably get The Dark Tower.
Anyway, yeah,
Yeah,
Dark Tower, things happening. Do that. Leave reviews, subscribe to things, tell your friends. Actually, just tell your friends since none of you are leaving reviews. Spread the word via the original viral marketing. That's
Your
right.
mouth.
Give your friends herpes, and then while you're waiting to pick up your Herpecin, tell them about John and Alex Hate Stuff.
Thank you.
All right, bye. Ja love.